The banana bandit. Wielding a deadly weapon might seem like the quickest way to gain the upper hand in a robbery, but that advantage diminishes when your weapon of choice is a piece of fruit. In a bizarre turn of events in the UK, one man decided to rob a gas station by concealing a banana in a plastic bag and brandishing it like a handgun. He confidently demanded cash, waving his fruity firearm and issuing threats to the cashier. However, the cashier, far from intimidated, noticed the gun had a distinctly soft and unthreatening droop. The robber, sensing his plan was spoiling, fled with a meager sum, only to be apprehended by police shortly after, still in possession of the banana. Authorities even photographed the potassium-rich evidence. It's a toss-up as to what's more baffling, believing this audacious plan would work or the sheer lack of foresight. The moral is clear: crime doesn't pay, and bananas are most certainly not bulletproof. The Facebook felon. Imagine the audacity required to break into someone's home and then, mid-heist, deciding it's the perfect time to check your social media. That's precisely what a burglar in Minnesota did. After gaining entry, he brazenly logged into his Facebook profile on the homeowner's computer. In a stunning lapse of judgment, he then forgot to log out. When the victim returned, they found their laptop open and the burglar's profile belonging to a Trevor W. staring back at them. They simply handed this digital business card over to the police, who arrested him within 24 hours. Trevor didn't manage to steal much of value, but what he lacked in loot, he more than compensated for with his monumental stupidity. Here's a pro tip for any aspiring criminal: perhaps refrain from checking your notifications while committing a felony. Pastub Paul. Successful bank robberies typically hinge on anonymity, masks, gloves, and a conspicuous absence of personal information. One man in Pennsylvania, however, took a decidedly different approach. He opted to write his demand note on the back of his own personal paycheck stub. This wasn't just a simple paper trail, it was a comprehensive guide to his identity, complete with his full name, address, and even his employer. The teller, likely bewildered, handed over the money and then promptly provided the police with what amounted to a direct GPS route to the culprit's front door. He was arrested at home just hours later, probably still puzzling over where his plan went awry. It was less of a robbery and more of a job application for incarceration. He may have failed as a criminal, but he certainly nailed the art of self-sabotage. Eagerness can be a virtue, but in the world of bank robbery, it can also be a critical flaw. One aspiring robber in Connecticut was so keen to execute his plan that he arrived at the bank well before it opened for business. Mask on and bag in hand, he stood poised for action, only to be foiled by a set of locked doors. While a more prudent individual might have cut their losses and fled, this man chose to wait. He paced impatiently, his full robber attire drawing considerable attention. Instead of being greeted by tellers, the first people to arrive were the police, alerted by security who had spotted the conspicuously loitering criminal. When questioned, he reportedly lamented, "I didn't want to waste the trip." The good news is he didn't. He simply traded a trip to the bank for a one-way ride to jail. The explosive ATM disaster. Two men in Australia had a bold strategy for liberating cash from an ATM: explosives. Unfortunately, their execution was more cartoonish than cunning. They decided to pump a flammable gas into the machine and ignite it. The resulting explosion was far more powerful than anticipated, not only failing to gently pop open the cash dispenser, but completely obliterating the entire machine. The cash was vaporized, the ATM was reduced to shrapnel, and one of the would-be thieves was injured by the flying debris. Security cameras captured the entire chaotic episode, including the priceless looks of shock on their faces as they realized their plan had literally gone up in smoke. They limped away empty-handed, a stark reminder that if your heist plan involves the word detonate, it might be wise to reconsider, especially if you intend for the money to survive. Plastic bag mask. In a feat of criminal ineptitude that feels almost like performance art, a man in Brazil attempted to rob a store with a disguise so transparently flawed it became an instant classic. He pulled a clear plastic bag over his head, not a dark, opaque bag that might obscure his features, but a completely see-through one. His face was perfectly visible from every angle, as if he were wearing a name tag that read, "Hello, my name is the Robber." The store's security cameras captured crisp, high-definition images of his entire face. Unsurprisingly, his time on the run was brief. Police reported that he was recognized by the public almost immediately, making his capture swift and straightforward. The lesson here is simple. If your chosen disguise has transparency settings, it's probably best to sit this crime out. The "Can I rob a bank" guy. The 911 emergency line is designed for life-threatening situations, but one Florida man apparently believed it also served as a criminal consultation service. In a truly baffling move, he called the police to ask, with complete sincerity, for advice on how to successfully rob a bank without getting caught. The dispatcher, playing along brilliantly, kept the man on the line, gathering details about his location while he mused about getaway strategies and optimal timing. When officers arrived, they found him still on the phone, deep in his brainstorming session. He was promptly arrested. His justification? He was just curious. While curiosity may have killed the cat, in this instance, it merely assassinated his clean record. If you ever feel the urge to Google how to commit a crime, perhaps taking a nap is a safer alternative. There are levels to criminal incompetence, and then there's trying to sell stolen property back to the person you stole it from. After stealing a man's laptop, one thief listed the device for sale on Craigslist. The ad was detailed. So detailed, in fact, that the original owner recognized his specific machine. Playing it cool, the victim arranged to meet the seller, ostensibly to purchase the laptop. However, he brought along a few unexpected guests, the police. When the thief arrived, stolen laptop in hand, he walked directly into a sting operation and was arrested on the spot. It's one thing to be caught, but it's another to personally deliver the evidence to your victim. That isn't just a failure, it's a masterclass in poetic justice. The moral of this story: if you're going to commit a crime, maybe don't advertise your misdeeds like a weekend garage sale and